SpaceWyz, Episode 5, Reflections.
Wait, who are you?
I'm the new narrator. You fired the old one.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Do what you're doing.
SpaceWyz, Episode 5, Reflections.
Going back? Never.
Never, ever. Never back.
T-minus 5, 4, go to engine start, 2, 1, 0, end lit. Of SpaceWyz's 20th regular service to Asteroid mines, carrying passengers on the fundamental mission to bring water to space stations and spaceships.
Previously on SpaceWyz. Recently. Rewind the tape to the previous episode.
I can't rewind it. It's not a tape. It's a hollering dock.
Then put on your hollering glasses and think it back.
You know, this is what I like about these rings. Back in the day, glasses only sharpened eyesight. Now they do everything.
We don't need your philosophy. Just tell us what happened in the previous episode.
That'll be tough.
Why?
I guess nothing really happened. We have visited, was it the moon?
It should have been Io.
Oh, Io. You're right. Was that episode 6 or 4?
You messed this up real bad. We missed an episode.
The Jupiter system. You're right. I completely forgot.
It's too late now.
But
You'll be fired.
me too? We just fired the previous narrator. Who's gonna fire me?
Me. You're fired.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your SpaceWyz flight between Leo and Neo, operated by KZSU Stanford. This is a direct and non-stop service to Asteroid mines. Enjoy your flight.
Alvin,
What?
do you remember what you said about the dark side?
No. What did I say?
You said you didn't like it.
I don't. So what?
Have you ever been in total darkness?
Space is always dark?
Yes, I know.
Of course, because you told me that in the previous episode. Space just stays dark. Being bathed in light is a genuine, terrestrial experience.
Terrestrial?
Atmospheric. Without air, you put your hand in shadow and it disappears out of sight. Like it never existed.
Really?
Without question. What were you thinking about with the darkness?
I was wondering, when you're in total darkness, what do you feel when you're only left with your thoughts?
Are you planning on going insane?
Not today.
Alright, good. Being in the darkness? Well, I've been on repair missions quite a few times. You know, when you accidentally lose your screwdriver and it floats away to just a foot from you, and you have to find it in the shadow of the spaceship, and you go after it. Into the darkness.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah, that was the title of the previous episode.
Yes, that it was. And what was the title of this one?
You didn't pay attention?
I wasn't there for it.
It's Reflections.
Good title. What does it mean?
Do you know what's Do you know what's the most...
The most what?
The most terrifying or shocking? No, not shocking. The most...
Come on, out with it.
Nora, it's hard to describe.
Indescribable?
Exactly. How did you know? So, you go around in Leo,
Low Earth orbit.
and the sun sets behind the Earth.
Sunset from space.
But what comes after the sunset? Total, implacable, unquestionable, irreversible
So far, so good.
darkness.
I knew it.
Good for you. I mean, you don't even see the Earth, despite it being just below you. Or above you, it depends. Everything is dark, silent, like turning off the lights. And you float in space. That is space. This dark, when you still remember the light, contrast still so sharp.
And then you get used to it.
I'm not sure about that. You definitely relax for a bit. And then it's sunrise on the other side.
And everything is back to normal.
No, because when the sun comes up, I mean, again, all of a sudden, everything is so bright. And you can see the Earth, and you can see that you're moving at 17,000 miles per hour.
But your speed hasn't changed.
No, but when you enter into darkness, everything seems like it stops. And you can't see yourself moving because you have no reference frame. Everything goes dark, silent, and still. No motion. And when the sun comes up, whoosh. Crazy light, crazy speed, without speeding up. Just like that.
Wow, that must be fun.
Every 3/4 of an hour. You can barely breathe, it's so intense. And it's not just, what was that, silent, dark, and...
And still.
Yeah. Motionless. But also, you know,
No, I don't.
you're just you?
Why? Are you not just you now?
No, I'm partly you. I'm reacting to you. I'm reflecting you. I'm reflecting other people.
So then, am I supposedly reflecting you?
Exactly. And when we are together, we are like a large echo chamber. We reflect each other and we become one. We are lost in a way, but we are both the same. Almost. But in the darkness of space, you can't share anything. You are just yourself. You are, in other words, nothing. If you can't tell anyone, you don't exist. It's like a tree falling in a forest. If there's no one around to hear, does it make a sound? Do I make an impact on anything if I'm alone?
So, I make you exist.
And I make you exist.
Well, as for me, you and all the other people I know are always in my mind. You don't have to be here in person to be in my mind, which means that in space, you can be isolated, but still everybody's with you. Everybody's in your mind. Alvin, you have a job to do. Black out the ship.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to darken the spacecraft and bring you the sounds from the magnetic field of this passing comet just to your right. We will turn off all entertainment systems because the sound is very quiet, so please pay attention and relax. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the regulations for the microgravity environment, we ask you to wear the maneuvering units, those little rocket packs, at all times during your stay on the asteroid. This prevents any accidents that may result in your ejection from the asteroid. Any sudden movement can lead to unwanted ejection, so please be careful. You can find the instruction for the personal maneuvering units located by your seat. Thank you.
You want them to be ejected, don't you?
One by one.
Alvin!
I'm kidding. But you know, I grew up in the West Sector.
I know. That's where they found those huge oil fields.
Oil, gas, gold, silver, even fossils. Totally unknown species. It was rich in everything. All of it. Right on the surface. You just bent down and picked it up. The glaciers did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I remember. But then we found quite diggable ores in the east, too. The new gold rush.
Miners.
Poor guys working for their families.
Maybe on your side. But in the West, it was rich guys working for the government. Not the miners, the businessmen. With good connections. You know, they found all these treasures underground, and instead of being happy, they started wars.
Either way, here in space, we would die without water. Aren't you excited when you can drink 4 billion-year-old water that no living organism has ever touched?
No. I'm a living organism, and I'm fine with sharing my water molecules with others.
In space, you're outside your biosphere. You have to use what you find here.
Well, I want my biosphere back now.
So then, Alvin, do you want to go back?
No, just to my biosphere, but not there. Not where the miners rule the land.
The miners rule the land. I think you're sort of exaggerating.
Me? Not a bit.
That's unfair, Alvin. Do you know what this ship is made of?
Yeah. Metals, and some sort of heavy metals, and soft metals.
Your face is made of soft metals. And where do you think you get those metals?
I guess there's a factory for metals? Metalworking?
Yeah, and dwarves are the factory workers. No, Alvin, everything is mined underground, or made from materials in the regolith. Like the insulator bricks in the heat shield, made of quartz sand. If we ever want to return to a planet with an atmosphere.
I'm not going back.
I know. The electronics contain almost all the elements of the periodic table, even plastics. What do you think plastics are made of?
Plastics? They make them artificially, right?
Out of thin air?
In factories?
Alvin, I thought you were raised in a mining district.
Yes, I was. But we had a farm, not a mine. Miners also have to eat something, you know. So how do you make plastic anyways?
From crude oil.
Really? I thought they were artificial.
Well, plastic bags don't grow on trees, but they are made of materials mined from the ground. But in asteroids, some asteroids are made up of pure metals. Just metals. You'd be surprised. There's nickel, iron, gold, platinum.
I'm not surprised. I know that. I even have a metal meteorite on my desk.
The one that always floats onto my bed bunk because you never anchor it.
No, that's my Mars rock. I have a magnet under the metal one.
Good enough. So the most precious raw material in carbonaceous asteroids is...
Carbon?
Water. These stony asteroids are the most ancient ones in the solar system. They're made up of small chondrules, tiny round grains that formed in 0G somewhere in outer space, where they were heated very rapidly before any planets existed. And they were cemented with the fine matrix that condensed from the nebula when the solar system formed, exactly 4.567 billion years ago.
Good to know. I didn't realize you have a memory like that. 4 point how many?
4.567. Well, it's 4567. So it's not hard to remember. But anyway, that's the age of the water you extract from asteroids. And there is water in them because they were never heated. In other words, these are pure, untouched solar nebula materials. Nobody was able to mess them up. Still the original solar nebula cocktail. So they mine water from them because it's still cheaper to mine it from here in 0G than to lift it from the surface of the Earth. Transportation cost is too high.
Have you finished your defensive miners yet?
Oh, I have, and we've arrived.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Asteroid Mines. Please check around your seat for any personal belongings you may have brought on board. On behalf of SpaceWyz Travel and the entire KZSU crew, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we're looking forward to seeing you on board again. Have a good stay. So Nora, am I faking it well?
This is your profession, after all. Any plans for tonight?
Well, since water is free in this sector,
Yes. I can tell you're thinking of something.
why don't we go test out those new microgravity swimming pools here?
Have you seen it before?
They just opened it for them.
Miner's luxury.
It is.
They really are investing in this place.
They secured tenure for 100 years here. Everything is theirs. Even the water.
Especially the water. That's what they mine.
How can anybody sell water that they just get for free? They didn't work a minute for creating the water molecules.
You didn't work to create your brain, and yet you use it for free.
Actually, I invest a lot into my brain.
Alvin, it's getting late. Late for my biological clock. Let's just take a quick dip in the pool if we want to do that today. Or float into it? I've never even been into our own zero-G pool. What does it feel like?
No, I haven't finished.
You haven't? Alvin, I've been driving this spaceship for days.
This is important. And it is important that I tell this to you because you are important to me.
Oh, that's 3 important things. Alvin, I'm really tired. Can we talk about it in the pool?
No, I won't be able to focus there. Too many distractions.
Okay, right. Go ahead. I'm all ears. Can I have a coffee tablet, if you have one?
Sure. A red one? So, where shall I begin?
At the end, please.
So, my theory about everything.
Yes.
Property. Property is key.
Oh, property. Never thought of that. Fabulous. You're right. So, can we go to the pool now?
People think that all the world is their property. You know what they say, like finders keepers, right?
No.
Right. It's the basis of everything. We think that all animals, land, and objects in the solar system can be property of some person who buys it. A businessman, a politician. We still think that land can be the property of the state. Like the state, which doesn't even exist. I mean, physically, it's only in your mind.
Military, police, they aren't just in your mind.
Those are just people.
And we don't have states nowadays. We just have 2 sectors.
But that is a good enough reason for war. We think we can own other people's things. Like in ancient times, they also thought that they could own other people. The ancient Greeks, for example.
Yes, they owned the dinosaurs. I know.
Now we don't think we can own other people, but we still think that we can own land and all the animals pre-existing on it. Isn't it crazy that we can legally own animals and have the right to kill them, eat them? Or that we can own conscious machines? You know C-3PO?
I don't own a single one of those things. I'm a pilot. This ship belongs to the SpaceWyz company.
Earth is not ours. Mars is not ours. Why do they think that if they can buy land, they can do whatever they want to it? We are all part of this system. We're not above this system, and they buy the land from whom? Earth? Do they pay the forest? Do they pay the penguins? No, they pay other people.
I'm a pilot, Alvin, and you are an anarchist. I see it now.
Oh, what does this tenure even mean on an asteroid? The asteroid is real. The tenure is just some letters in a hollow document.
They cause no harm to the asteroid. It's not like in a living forest. But in this way, they can avoid fights with other miners.
What do you mean?
It's practical. It makes it clear who can mine here and who can't.
Really?
Alvin, I appreciate your love of nature, and I agree with you. But these miners are causing no harm to anyone here. Let me show you what they mine.
Yeah? What?
Crystalline dihydrogen monoxide. In other words...
Ice?
Yes. And what happens to asteroid bond ice when we heat it?
It boils?
No, it turns into a micro-G pool. Let's go, Alvin.
But the properties. I mean, the miners have no right to these properties.
Okay, they don't have any moral rights over it. But we need water, so we ask them to be so kind and mine us some water out of these carbonaceous rocks so that we don't die of thirst. Is that fair enough? Can we go now to swim a bit?
Okay, but don't forget that you will be swimming in ancient 4 billion year old water.
And what difference does it make?
It makes us feel young?
Yeah, the babies of the universe. It's gonna be fun for sure. And then next flight, more water worlds?
Yeah, I guess. It'll be Europa.
And tune in again next week for the next episode in which we travel to Jupiter's iciest moon, Europa. And remember, fly SpaceWyz! SpaceWyz was created by Steve Hayter and Lizzie Nielsen, and played by
Akshay Jaggi.
Christina Correa.